Good morning, my dear senior high school students. So today I will discuss to you our first topic in reading and writing. But before that, let me share to you the book that I am using as my reference in this course. So this is the book that I am using entitled Reading and Writing by Pena and Anodine. So I know na meron kayong book na ganito. Okay? So we will now start. Okay. So in this course, the first topic that we are going to discuss, class, is all about the critical reading and thinking strategies. Now, what is reading? Now, when we talk of reading, class, reading is an interactive process that involves the reader and the text in a certain context or situation. Now, reading is a language skill which can be developed through constant practice. So as some scholars found out, you can widen your vocabulary and develop skills in writing when you read. So many struggles or many readers struggle with reading because they have not acquired the skills needed for effective reading. So merong iba na nagbabasa lang without comprehension. So of course, reading really takes time para i-practice natin ito because some are not into reading, I guess, and others are just reading purely, okay, without comprehension or understanding. Now, efficient and effective reading involve understanding and analyzing text with a critical judgment, assessing the text you read with why and how questions. So when you read, class, always ask yourselves why and how questions. Why? Because this will develop you into higher order thinking skills, okay? Thus, reading effectively is vital and usually leads to effective writing. So, kapag ikaw yung klase ng tao na mahilig magbasa, any reading materials, it could be fiction, it could be stories, it could be poems or books that you are using in your class. So along the way that you are reading or you are really fond of reading, kasi I have meron akong mga kakilala, my classmates before, who are really fond of reading books, and I can really observe and I can really see that they are very good when it comes to vocabulary. Why? Because along na nagbabasa sila or along na nagbabasa tayo, meron tayong mga vocabulary words which are unfamiliar to us. Okay? So habang nagbabasa tayo and nakaka-encounter tayo ng mga unfamiliar words, ano ba yung ginagawa natin? Skip ba natin? No. We have to take down of those words and i-research natin, or we will consult the dictionary kung ano ibig sabihin ng words na yun. Para later on, class, when we are going to encounter that kind of word, alam na natin if saan natin siya na context or situation gagamitin. Now, finally, if you are a critical readers, you will be able to assess or evaluate your own reading and writing practices, which significantly helps develop your critical reading skills. Now, the reader equipped with background knowledge, mental faculties, experiences, and skills take an active role of interacting with the text or reading material. So this interaction results to an understanding between the reader and the text, commonly known as reading comprehension. So nagkakaroon ng interaction along the way kapag si reader naiintindihan niya yung reading material or yung text na binabasa niya. Of course, the reader will not just read the reading material alone, but he or she should understand and interpret what does it convey. Ano ba ibig sabihin itong binabasa ko? Ba't ko ba binabasa to? Okay? Some of us are just doing purely reading. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina. So, how can we better understand it? So, magiging useless lang po kung hindi natin naiintindihan yung binabasa natin. But there are readers who cannot understand the reading material right away. Okay? Instead, they read it how many times before they will understand the message. So, that is why reading takes time. So, kasi merong mga active readers na when they read, 'di ba, hindi nila kaagad-agad naiintindihan yung mga binabasa nila. Meron din namang iba na naiintindihan kaagad naiintindihan nila kaagad yung mga binabasa nila kahit isang beses lang nila nabasa. Now, that is why reading takes time. Bakit? Kasi kailangan talaga natin pagtuunan ng pansin yung binabasa natin. Okay? Now, we have also reading strategies. So, one important skill for being able to maximize the benefits of reading a book is understanding the key features and organizational patterns or structures of the text or structures of that text. So, it is important for you to use special strategies. Later on, you will know. So, this means that you have to know what these strategies are and which strategy to use with a particular text. Now, combining your understanding about the structure of a particular text class with the strategies you will use in reading that text. So you will be able to read different texts more easily and with understanding. So yung pagbabasa natin class, meron din yung mga reading strategies na kailangan natin malaman. So what are these strategies na mga sinasabi ko? Now, good readers use the following reading strategies. First, we have previewing. Have you ever read a book and decided to look at the end before really coming to it? Okay, so mostly, ito yung nangyayari. That is actually a good skill in academic reading called previewing. So the skill of previewing is similar to the art of making a very short movie trailer of a much longer movie. So to preview a piece of writing is to try to get an idea what it is about, okay? So for example, just like watching a movie, you will have an easier time understanding what the text is about if you know what to expect before you read it. Alam mo na kung ano yung mga expectations mo bago mo babasahin yung libro or yung reading material. Previewing is a very good strategy for getting an idea of what a book or article is all about. Previewing is useful for all kinds of writing. Now, one important way to preview a text is to read the first sentence of each paragraph. Another way is to pay attention to text structures such as sidebars, photograph, captions, text in bold or italics, headings and subheadings, charts and graphs, summaries and other supporting texts and graphics. So usually nakikita natin yun sila lahat, those text structures doon sa libro or sa reading material. Next, we have what we call activating prior knowledge. So when you start reading a book or article, ask yourself, what do I know about the topic? Ano bang alam ko dito? So this is called activating prior knowledge. So for example, if the essay is about Jose Rizal, you can ask yourself questions regarding the life of our national hero. So if you have very little prior knowledge about a particular topic class that you are reading about, you may opt to set aside the text for a while and do some background reading on the topic. So this usually happens when the author does not provide the background, okay? Because he or she assumes that his or her readers already have a background about the topic. Activating prior knowledge is simply using your knowledge and previous personal experience to create meaning in what you read. So you can activate prior knowledge related to an essay you are reading by asking yourself questions that help you remember related facts and ideas. So sometimes, di ba, kapag the teacher will give us questions, so those are essay type of questions. So sometimes while we are reading the question, we are trying to ask ourselves na parang na-encounter ko na to, ano ba yung mga experience ko na pwede kong i-relate dito sa essay na binigay ni ma'am? Okay? So that is what we call activating prior knowledge. Next, we have making predictions. When you make predictions, you guess what will happen next. So we all make predictions many times, especially when watching a movie or reading a book. So hinuhulaan natin minsan if what will be the possible happenings along the movie or story. So sometimes we will say, feeling ko mamamatay yung antagonist or villain or yung kontrabida na tinatawag natin sa palabas. Kasi usually, yan yung mga nangyayari. Now, it is a good skill class to try to make predictions as you read a story or play. Making predictions helps you be a more active reader. Making predictions is especially important in reading narrative or descriptive texts. Why? Because making predictions is normally based on your schema, what you know about the world. You also base your predictions on the picture being presented by the author. So what kind of picture does the author paint? Bright, sad, serious, humorous, or desperate? A prediction usually follows the current situation. Now, think of what usually happens given a set of conditions. So, for example, a woman is walking home, the sky is getting full of dark clouds, and she does not have an umbrella. Now, your prediction could be that it would rain and she would end up coming home soaked. So, the next day, she would have a fever and would not be able to take part in an event she is scheduled to attend. Making predictions may also have something to do with your personality. Now, if you are an optimist optimist, for example, you will tend to make positive predictions. On the other hand, you are likely to make negative predictions if you are pessimistic. So, kabaliktaran ni optimist or optimistic. Now, visualizing. Now, when you visualize during reading class, you make an image in your mind about what you are reading. Okay? Ini-imagine natin kung ano yung binabasa natin. You also think about what you hear, feel, taste, and smell as you read. So sometimes, lalo na nung uso yung ebook and Wattpad, di ba? Hindi naman tayo yung character, pero minsan ini-imagine natin na tayo yung character, tayo yung bida, tayo yung kontrabida. So visualizing can help you understand a process or concept being discussed in an expository essay, an essay that explains. So sometimes nga, di ba, kapag nakaka-relate tayo doon sa story, gusto rin natin gumawa ng sarili nating story kasi nakaka-relate tayo, kasi nai-imagine or na-visualize natin yung mga pangyayari. Do not be discouraged, class, when you find it difficult to visualize kasi meron talagang mga students or learners na nahihirapan mag-visualize. The skill of visualization takes practice to develop. So, hindi ka agad-agad yan, alam mo na talaga, okay? You need to keep on imagining what you read. Our imagination is very wide, so it could take us everywhere. Kahit saan tayo pwedeng dalhin ng imagination natin. So, usually, those who love to imagine are mostly writers because the skill in writing a poem or a story requires a lot of analyzation, and when they imagine things, it greatly helps them in making their work one of a kind. Now, keep on imagining even if you feel like you do not imagine the situation correctly. Practice lang ng practice. Because doing background reading about the text using references that have accurate pictures can also aid you in your effort to imagine what the text says. Next, understanding sequence of events. A sequence of events is the order in which the episodes in a story happen. So, yung pagkakasunod-sunod. You will understand a text better if you know which events come one after the other, which events happen at the same time, and which events caused another event. Now, try to imagine while watching a K-drama na nauna yung episode 2 at 3 or nauna yung episode 2 bago yung episode 1. Okay? What will happen kaya na hindi natin natingnan yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng story? Do you think maiintindihan niyo siya? Siguro maiintindihan niyo siya later on na. Okay? Hindi mo alam kung ano yung nangyari sa first part. Now, a story is told about a cartoonist who was asked to draw a series of strips that show how refreshing a certain power drink is. In the left strip, this is an example. He drew a person who is tired, sad, and obviously thirsty. Now, in the middle strip, he drew the same person drinking the power drink. On the right strip, he drew the same person being happy and feeling refreshed. The company showed it to the public. What they did not realize, however, was that their audience is an Arab country, and Arabs read from right to left. Needless to say, their advertisement sent the wrong message. Why? We Filipinos, we read starting from left to right. Yung Arab po, yung mga Arabs, nagbabasa sila simula right to left. Okay? So yung advertisement is hindi siya nag-coincide doon sa audience mismo ng nanonood ng advertisement. Kasi nga Arabs, kapag nagbabasa sila, uh, they started from right to left. So tayo, left to right. Okay? So yan yung understanding sequence of events. So kapag hindi siya in order na binabasa natin or nababasa natin or napapanood natin, so minsan nalilito tayo, nako-confuse tayo. Ano na ba yun? Okay? So we ask questions like that. Now, when we talk of stream of consciousness, this is particularly important when the author does not narrate the events in the order, okay, in which they happen, as in a retelling called stream of consciousness. Now, what is stream of consciousness? It is a retelling of events that is difficult to follow because events are mentioned not in the order that they happened, okay? But based on what comes to the narrator's mind, okay? So ito yung tinatawag natin na stream of consciousness. Next, identifying main ideas and details. Main ideas are broader while details are more specific. The main idea is the most important idea in a paragraph. You will know that a sentence is a main idea if it expresses a general idea. Now, identifying the main idea class is another reading skill, for it involves the identification of the central message of a reading selection. The main idea is usually found in either or both the first and the last sentences of a paragraph, but it may also appear in the middle or may simply be implied and not explicitly stated in the text. So main ideas can be found pwedeng sa first paragraph, pwedeng sa middle. So sometimes minsan din class, yung main ideas is hindi natin nakikita doon mismo sa paragraph or sa reading material na binigay. Main ideas are broader than details. They beg for more details and require more elaboration. Details, on the other hand, class, are specific statements about the facts, okay? Si details related siya doon sa main idea natin. So they usually cannot be elaborated upon or explained further. So we have here examples. Bananas in the Philippines have different varieties. So that is our main idea. Okay, yung general idea natin. Lakatan is a variety of Philippine banana. It is a supporting detail wherein it supports the facts of our main idea. Next, bananas rot easily. So it's unrelated. Hindi siya kasali or it does not support the detail of the main idea. Kaya tinatawag natin siya na unrelated kasi hindi siya related, of course, doon sa ating main idea at supporting detail. Next, asking questions. The benefit you get from reading is closely related to the kind of questions you ask. So you can combine the skill of asking questions and that of activating prior knowledge by using KWL. So what this KWL stands for? Know, want to know, and learn. So when we talk of know class, remember what you already know about the topic at hand. So it is your prior knowledge. Next, W, want to know. Ask yourself what you want to know about the topic at hand. So this helps you to start formulating research questions, which is a key component of the research process. Now, what is L? L is learn. Specify what you learned about the topic when you read the text. So this column prompts further research. So using KWL class will enable you to have a structure that will guide you in asking questions. Next will be paraphrasing. So when you paraphrase, you put part of reading in your own words. You take complex ideas and simplify them. So this helps you understand difficult parts of reading. Now, paraphrasing can also help you remember information. Writers often paraphrase sentences and paragraphs to deliver information in a more concise way. So when paraphrasing, it is important to keep the original meaning so that the facts remain intact. Okay? So when we do paraphrasing class, ipa-paraphrase natin siya based on the thought of the original text. Hindi natin siya ipa-paraphrase na nawawala na yung thought ng sentence. Okay? So yan yung sinasabi natin na paraphrasing. And another thing, when you get ideas from the Google or from the internet, make sure that you are going to cite, of course, the source or the author of that particular owner na kinuha mo na source, okay? Why? To give credits also sa gumawa niyan and para hindi matawag na plagiarism or plagiarized yung ginawa mo na essay or whatever it would be. Okay? Or you can also paraphrase it. Paraphrase it in your own words. So basically, you are writing something in your own words that still expresses the original idea. Nandyan pa rin yung thought ng sentence. Okay? Paraphrasing is common when writing an essay or research paper. So sometimes kapag gumagawa tayo ng mga research paper, we do what? Copy and paste, okay? Paraphrasing is common when writing an essay or research paper. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina. It allows you to explain important ideas in your own writing style and focus on the information that is most useful in making your point. So even when you put someone else's ideas into your own words, you must cite the source, ilagay, of your information. So this gives credit to the original author for their own ideas. Kasi sila naman yung gumawa, di ba? So why not put or cite the source? Example, we have examples here. So the original is, he has tons of stuff to throw away. Now, we will paraphrase that sentence, okay? Yan yung, ang original text, he has tons of stuff to throw away. So we will paraphrase it. He needs to get rid of a lot of junk, okay? So the thought is still the same. We just paraphrase it. Binihisan lang natin ng own words natin, but the thought is still the same. Next is drawing conclusions. Writers do not always tell you everything about what the characters and events in a story. Instead, they give you clues or hints. So first, in doing experiments, you started with a set of situations, then performed some activities, produced results, and finally drew conclusions. So yan yung usually na ginagawa kapag may experiments sa science. So drawing conclusions in reading books takes a similar process. So except that instead of performing the activities, you read about them. Now, in addition, the author provides you with situations or conditions that will enable you to draw conclusions based on your schema or knowledge of the world. You can connect these conditions, class, or situations and actions and draw a conclusion. However, we should be careful in what? Drawing conclusions based on insufficient information. This is called jumping to conclusions. Conclusion should come from carefully examined information. Okay, that is why we must not be too quick in making them. Okay, make sure that the conclusion na ginawa mo is based on what? Is based on examined information. Number 10, we have recognizing mood in poetry. Excuse me. Poems can make one feel happy or sad. So this is what we call mood. So to determine the mood class of a poem, ask yourself what you feel when you read it aloud, okay? You can practice recognizing mood in poetry by reading several poems and becoming aware of how you feel as you read each poem. So poetry has the power to evoke emotions and feelings in its readers and audience members if it is read out loud. Now, these emotions and feelings help establish a certain atmosphere or mood. Now, the mood refers to the atmosphere that is prevalent in the poem. So different elements of a poem, such as its setting, tone, voice, and theme, help establish this atmosphere. So as a result, class, the mood evokes certain feelings and emotions in the reader. A poem generally has one overall mood, but the types of mood that poetry may exhibit vary greatly. Of course, yung mood class, nakadepende din sa type of reading material na binabasa mo. For example, maraming poems, di ba? Or maraming stories. So, yung mood, of course, nakadepende doon sa type ng poem na binabasa mo. So, you can also begin recognizing mood in poetry by paying attention to words that impart feelings. Ayan. Mood is the feeling created by the poet or by the poet for the reader. So example, some words that can describe the mood of a poem might be romantic, realistic, optimistic, pessimistic, gloomy, mournful, sorrowful, and etc. So those are examples of mood that we can describe along that we are reading a particular story or a poem. Next, comparing and contrasting. Now, comparing is determining how things are the same. Yung the same nila or yung pagkakapareho. Now, contrasting is determining how things are different. Now, when you read a text, you can compare and contrast characters, events, setting, and details. A common way of comparing and contrasting is using two intersecting circles called a Venn diagram. So, I know that you have seen, a Venn diagram already. So, yung Venn diagram, yung may dalawang circle and connected siya. Yung nasa gitna class, that's what we call intersection. So, you write the similarities ng dalawang kinukumpara ninyo, okay, doon sa gitna. On the sides, okay, you write their differences. Ano ba yung pagkakaiba nila? So, generally speaking, comparing is showing similarities and contrasting is showing differences between two things that are related in some way. So, yan yung comparing and contrasting. Next, putting text information in an outline. Now, when we talk of outline, it is a tool for organizing ideas and it is like a blueprint of your writing as they are the summary or breakdown of main and supporting ideas. So, nakalista na lahat. Ano ba yung outline? Now, outlines help you put information in order. So, the headings and subheadings in a text can help you determine the main topics and subtopics for your outline. Now, putting text information in an outline can help you develop skills in finding the main idea and details in a text. So the more detail provided in the outline, the easier writing will become. So just like an architect class uses the blueprint, diba, to organize the details and plans for the project they are working on, you will use an outline the same way for your writing para alam mo, diba? Outlines are very beneficial when it comes to organizing information for writing because what? Okay, first, they put ideas in logical order. Next, show the relationship between ideas, material, and evidence. And provide a summary of main ideas and supporting evidence. Now, why do we outline? First, it gives us an overview of the topic and enables us to see how various subtopics relate to one another, and it is also an effective way to record needed information from reference books you do not own. Okay? Now, recording the information in our own words test our understanding of what we read. Okay? So, yan yung putting text information in an outline. Next, identifying cause and effect. So, when you identify cause and effect, you identify the event that causes another event, okay? The first event is usually the cause, okay? And the second event is usually the effect. Now, one way to identify causes and effects would be to pay attention to word clues, okay? Some words signify cause such as because, caused by, and from. Other words may signify effects such as resulting in, produced as a result, and hence. So this involves one condition causing another condition, which in turn results into yet another condition. So we have here examples of cause and effect. Now, For example, for the cause, smoking cigarettes, effect, lung cancer. Okay? So, yun yung magiging effect niya kapag nagsisigarilyo ka. Now, a tornado blew the roof off the house, and as a result, the family had to find another place to live. So, nagkaroon ng tornado, kaya yung effect is kailangan nilang maghanap ng bagong matitirahan. Next, because the alarm was not set, we were late for work. Okay? So, ano yung cause doon? Yung hindi natin na-set yung alarm. Okay? And na-late tayo sa trabaho, and that is the effect. Because of a price increase, yan yung cause, sales are down. Yun yung nagiging effect or kinalabasan niya. Next, we have summarizing. Now, summarizing, a summary is brief, okay? Brief. Summarizing helps remember the important information in a reading. Now, when you summarize a reading or a section of a reading class, you give only the most important ideas. Ano lang ba yung importante dito? Kailangan ko bang ilagay lahat? Okay, di ba? So, pinpoint only or include only those keywords or yung mga words na importante. So, you summarize it. Now, it is a brief overview of an entire discussion or argument. So, people often summarize when the original material is long, napakahaba, or to emphasize key facts or points. Summaries leave out detail or examples that may distract the reader from the most important information, and they simplify complex arguments, grammar, and vocabulary. Summarizing and paraphrasing can save time. Okay, so na-discuss na natin yung paraphrasing kanina. Why? It increase your understanding and give authority and credibility to your work. Okay? Kasi ikaw yung nag-summarize, di ba? And ikaw din yung nag-paraphrase, for example. Now, both tools, summarizing and paraphrasing, are useful when the precise wording of the original communication is less important than its overall meaning. Next, we have synthesizing. Now, synthesizing is going beyond drawing conclusions, okay? When you draw conclusions, you develop judgments or opinions about the author's message. Now, when you synthesize class, you put together these conclusions and other ideas to form new overall understanding, okay? Bago, okay? Reading a text provides you with new knowledge. So when this happens, your mind restructures what you know into a different setup that incorporates that new knowledge. So for example, you already know that sea animals with tails and fins are fish, okay? You then encounter information that tells you about whales and dolphins. These animals are not fish, and yet they live in the sea. So this is an example in our book. You then synthesize that new knowledge to form a new understanding that not all animals which have fins and tails and live in the sea are fish. Okay, so those are example or one of the example of synthesizing. So, yun yung last sa sa reading strategies. Now, let's have the critical reading and writing. Now, when we talk of critical thinking class, it is making judgments about information one reads or hears. So, it involves a series of complex thoughts, processes, which allows you to make reasoned judgments, assess the way you think, and solve problem effectively. Now, critical thinking is the ability to think clearly and rationally, understanding the logical connection between ideas. Critical thinkers class rigorously question ideas and assumptions rather than accepting them at face value. So they will always seek to determine whether the ideas or arguments and findings represent the entire picture and are open to finding that they do not. Now, critical thinkers will identify, analyze, and solve problems systematically rather than by intuition or instinct. So they will really examine information. They will not based on opinionated statements. Okay, so yan yung mga critical thinkers natin, di ba? They will really dig deeper into ano ba talaga, okay? A reader gets the most out of what the author says in a text by thinking more deeply about what he reads, okay? Reading thinking critically is going beyond what the words say and getting up the important message of the text. Okay. Now, of course, we have the qualities of a critical thinker. Someone who thinks critically is inquisitive. He or she asks genuine questions that lead to a better understanding of things and events. Now, if you are a critical thinker class, of course, you will not ask questions that is not based on the topic, okay? So, inquisitive ka, wherein when we talk of inquisitive, you are inclined to ask questions, okay? You are asking questions based on the statements, okay? Parang nagiging active reader ka dito, hindi ka nagiging passive, parang active ka. Okay, or not parang, it's really an active reader. Moreover, by analyzing and evaluating, a critical thinker does not settle for a superficial level of interpretation. Instead, he or she investigates and digs deeper. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina, class, na once you are a critical thinker, you do not base your answers or presumptions based on your opinionated statements or based on opinionated statements. Instead, you dig deeper. Ano ba talaga yung nangyari? Okay? So parang sometimes nagiging investigators tayo dito. Okay? Kasi hindi tayo nagbe-base doon sa mga intuition or instincts lang or sabi-sabi lang ng iba. So we dig deeper. Now, the following are critical reading skills that a reader needs to develop and then apply when reading a text. So first, we have interpreting. When we talk of interpreting, is thinking about what a writer is really saying in a text and then using one schema. So that is one's knowledge of the world to answer the question about what a writer really says in a text. Now, interpreting is basically understanding the text, okay? Yung comprehension mo. So this is done by combining his or her own knowledge and background with details and clues stated by the author. So interpretation is the result of how you understand different symbols, items, cues, imagery, and other devices that a writer uses in a text. Paano mo ba naiintindihan yung reading material na binabasa mo? Or the question is, naiintindihan mo ba? Okay. So yan yung interpreting. Now, when we talk of inferring, it is a process used by a reader to understand an idea that the author does not state explicitly. So this is done while you are reading the text. Okay, habang nagbabasa ka, pumapasok si inferring. The author does not state explicitly every idea he or she wants to convey. So hindi lahat sinusulat ni author doon. That is why some people call this reading between the lines. Okay? Ito yung tinatawag nila na reading between the lines. You infer by putting together the author's ideas at a certain point and coming up with a stated idea based on those given ideas. So, yan po si inferring. Next, we have drawing conclusions. Drawing conclusions is figuring out much more than what an author says directly. So the reader combines information and evidences that the author provides to come up with a statement about the topic, a character, or about anything else in the text. So it helps a reader find connections between ideas and events and helps him or her to have a better understanding of what is being read. So it is usually done after reading the whole text. Ito yung drawing conclusions, okay? Drawing conclusions is best done by talking all the author's ideas into consideration. So you will have your drawing conclusions or makaka-draw ka lang ng conclusions mo after you have read the text, okay? Next, analyzing. Analyzing, humans have long tried to understand things around them by tearing them apart, and examining the different parts. So analyzing is looking at separate, detailed parts of the text to understand the whole, okay? So for example, you can try to understand each argument class given by an author and see if they add up to the same conclusion the author is trying to give. Now, analyzing in this case involves assessing the value, truthfulness, and appropriateness of each argument to see if they do add up to the author's main idea. So in your childhood, you may have broken up a toy. So in your childhood, you may have broken up a toy to see the parts inside, diba? So yun yung ginagawa natin minsan, and how they work together. So This is very similar to analyzing a text. You take apart the ideas and see how they connect with each other to support the main idea of the text. So yan yung analyzing. Next, distinguishing fact from opinion. So facts are statements that can be proved true or false by using reliable sources such as an encyclopedia or any credible reference work. So yan yung facts. Now, distinguishing fact from opinion is especially important in reading expository and persuasive texts. Why? When we say, I'm sorry, when I say persuasive text or persuasive writing, it is a type of nonfiction writing used to convince the reader to agree with the author about an issue. So the author will rely heavily on facts to express their opinion and use them in an argument type of writing style. So itong persuasive writing, it is not based on opinionated statements. Now, ano na naman yung expository text? When we talk of expository text class, it exists to provide facts in a way that is educational and purposeful. So the text is fact-based with the purpose of exposing the truth through a reliable source. So true and deliberate expository text will focus on educating its readers. So other descriptions of exposition are clear, concise, and organized writing. Now, expository text gets to the point quickly and efficiently, so direct to the point. A fact is an idea that is already proven or obviously true. Now, what is this opinion? Opinions are beliefs or judgments, okay? It is an unverified idea. It may or may not prove to be true. So when an author makes a statement about the future, it is very likely an opinion because we are not really sure about the conditions in the future. Hindi naman natin alam kung ano yung mangyayari sa future. So sometimes nagiging opinionated yung statements. Now, when an author talks about the past or the present, you can employ the skills of activating your prior knowledge, okay? You go back to help you distinguish between fact and opinion. Now, what is this evaluating? Evaluating is forming an opinion or making a judgment about something being read, usually by comparing it with an ideal standard or norm. So this is different from assessing, which simply involves describing something without giving judgment as to what it should be. So, for example, this can be found in your book. Now, to say that an adult person is 173 centimeters is assessing to say that that person is tall. So that is our evaluation. Now, when reading fiction, the reader evaluates the author's style, the characters, the plot, and the message being conveyed. Since evaluating involves comparing something with what one considers is ideal, it is best to explicitly talk about the criteria for evaluation. So the closer something is to the ideal, the more positive the evaluation about it is given. So for example, class in a pageant, di ba? In a pageant, we have adjudicators or judges, okay? So merong nag-evaluate or merong talagang nag-judge. So of course, the evaluators will really base their judgments or evaluation depende doon sa naging performance ng candidates. Okay? So yan yung sinasabi natin na evaluating or evaluation. Next, we have synthesizing. When we talk of synthesizing, it's combining ideas to come up with something new, such as a new understanding or a new way of presenting information. So it is important in reading all kinds of texts because all texts provide knowledge that needs to be processed. So in synthesizing class, you connect ideas to form a coherent whole. So which serves as your new understanding. So it is like putting together jigsaw puzzle. Why? At first, when you place all the parts in front of you, you are able to see all of them. Nakikita mo silang lahat. But they do not connect together to form a picture. However, after finishing the puzzle, you are able to see the complete picture as you look at the pieces all neatly connected. Okay? Doon mo lang mas naiintindihan or na-synthesize after na kompleto yung puzzle. So the ideas you read in the text are like the pieces of the puzzle. And your new understanding is like the complete picture you produced by piecing together all the pieces of the puzzle. So yan yung tinatawag natin na synthesizing. Next is we have what we call predicting. This will be the last. Is making intelligent guesses about what will happen next in a text. So predictions are based on prior evidence from the story and on the reader's general knowledge and experiences. Now, predicting enables you, class, to anticipate what will happen and prepare you understand the next events. Okay? So that's all for the critical reading thinking skills that a reader needs to develop and then apply when reading a text. Okay? Next is these are my references. Okay? So thank you so much, class, for joining